Here on the campus of Troy University, I'm Barry McKnight in the middle of the athletic complex with Troy softball coach Eric Newell. Coach, appreciate the time.
Yeah, appreciate being here. Excited.
Everybody knows that you have been coaching for a good while, very successfully. But at Troy, you're entering into your second year. How much different is it your second year, knowing what you've got, knowing the personnel, than it was when you first got here? And it seems that, the world had to be spinning around a pretty good bit.
Sure, yeah. I mean, honestly, that first year you play the hand that you're dealt, and that's what we did. And it was a pretty good hand, with the likes of the Kelly Horns and the Leanna Johnsons, and you had a good team, and we had a solid year. But yeah, with each year that passes by, it'll become more of the Coach Newell era. I know this. We're excited about some of the freshmen that we have and some of the new players that we have, and I'm sure that we'll talk about a few of those names. But yeah, we're excited to continue to kind of develop our culture and our hitting philosophy and different things that we like to implement within the program for sure.
And the culture is always something that the fans really, it's hard to measure, it's hard to know, but you know it when you see it. Tell us a bit more about the culture, what you want, and how it's gone.
Well, sure, and we've kind of developed a new mantra this year, and it's E cubed. We used a mathematical expression, but it's certainly we want excellence, and we want excellence in everything, and we want excellence in everything. I got to think of the third one. Is the expectation,
right?
And so we've really kind of had whether that be in the community, in the classroom, the wins and the losses, the kind of person you are on and off the field. It just within our own coaching staff, Shanda Rigby, I think, is a great example of year in and year out. She wins, and those kids do the right thing. And I just like her values as a person and as a coach, and just someone to kind of look up to there. But certainly we want good kids who are making good decisions and doing all the other boxes too, winning on the field, winning off the field type thing.
One more comment about that from you, and I've always thought this way, tell me if I'm off base, but attention to detail, the pursuit of excellence, the work ethic and stuff, that's not something you can turn on and off like a faucet. I mean, if you're doing it all the time, you're doing it every time, and not just as a softball player, not just between the lines. That's 24/7, am I right?
Yeah, you're right. And I think it's a direct correlation between your academic life and your athletic life. It either clicks or sometimes it doesn't click,
right.
and you kind of have to adjust accordingly.
You mentioned looking forward to some of the newcomers and some of the first-year players and all of that. Let's start by talking about the known commodity, what the players what they're about and what you can count upon.
Well, last night you and I were able to speak at Baumhauer's the other night, and that was so much fun. And we talked a little bit about this same question, but I failed to mention Taylor McKinney. And Taylor McKinney is you talk about a mainstay in the Troy lineup, and I think she led us in RBIs and either led or was in second in home runs. And we moved her from the outfield to the infield, which was a transition period for her. But what an incredible player! And she can do it all. She can steal bases and hit for power and certainly hit for average as well. So Taylor McKinney is somebody that we're excited about, and was selected as an all-region player last year. And those are hard to come by
in this region, especially.
You're competing against that. That's not just Sun Belt. That's SEC in the whole 9 yards. So. Excited to have her back in the middle of the order. And then I think after that, I'd really like to just highlight our 6 seniors. Ansley Finch, outfielder, local talent that hit over 300 last year for us. Jade Sinnis, who has just really locked down center field for the Troy softball program the last 4 or 5 years. Dion Riggs, who we'll probably transition her from left to right field this year, and we'll probably put Ansley in left. We're just swapping those two. But Dion had an incredible fall, and really anticipate her having a big year this year. Libby Baker had just a monster breakout year offensively for us. Audra Thompson is the anchor of the infield, and it's those 6 seniors in combination with Taylor McKinney and little. I hesitate to say the word little, but contributions from people like Natalie Turner and some of our new players. I like the way the team is shaping up. It's just the pitching wise, I think we have some skill and some talent there. But certainly replacing the likes of Leanna Johnson is no easy task.
There's a lot to like about this team. You talk about the culture in the program, the culture in the clubhouse. What's it going to look like in terms of competing and getting after it in between the lines? When they're playing well, what can the fans expect to see?
Yeah, I want to continue to kind of push the bar and push the limit from a swiping bases perspective. I think that's something that I have a knack for and just a pure enjoyment of. And so I think we're going to be faster this year. I think defensively we could be a tick better. Offensively, putting a lot of pressure on my hitting coach Anna Shellnut, but I think we're going to be a tick better offensively as well. So it's not to put undue pressure on our pitching staff and Coach Decker working with our pitchers and Leanna also working with our pitchers, but I think that's the biggest question mark right now as Libby Baker will look to fulfill and elevate her game in the circle. Haley Pittman, senior, who I forgot to mention earlier, but she'll have to elevate her game, and we look to hopefully will cover several innings for us. And look, we got some talented newcomers pitching wise. We've got one, Kate Peters. Transfer from Lipscomb that was on the freshman all-sun team a couple of years ago at Lipscomb. Olivia Cato comes back for her sophomore season. And then two extremely talented freshman pitchers that we are really excited about, both all-state players, Savannah Money from Ashford, Alabama, and then probably the biggest talking piece is Alyssa Faircloth, who's the reigning 7A Alabama Pitcher of the Year. She has shown glimpses of greatness, and we certainly are relying on her heavily to come through for us this year.
It's exciting. It's always fun at the Troy softball complex, and it's always competitive. Your schedule this year starts on February the 9th in the Trojan Invitational, which is always, something everybody circles in the calendar to get the year started. That's just the start of what's going to be another really challenging schedule.
I mean, and that's part of being in the Sun Belt. I mean, I think last year at one point in time there were 9 teams in the Sun Belt ranked in the top 100 RPI, and that's just mind blowing. And I was talking to Sandy, the senior women administrator, and she oversees softball. She's like, that's unheard of, and that was that's a cool thing for the Sun Belt. But non-conference wise, there's not a lot of gimmies in there. Non-conference wise, home and away with Auburn, and go to a tournament Mississippi State. At Georgia Tech on the road, these are schools that are major Power Fives and that we plan to tangle with. And don't get me wrong, there'll be some games in there that we certainly hope that we can pad the win column, but day in and day out, we got to bring it every single day.
The home schedule, it's always competitive, but I want to stress to the viewers, it's also just so much fun. The atmosphere around Troy softball is always positive. It's always so much fun. Can you give a perspective on how much that home field means, how much the fans mean, Coach?
The fans are, it's like having, in football they talk about the 12th man,
Right.
In softball it's very similar. You feed off that energy. I remember talking in another interview about just the band that came and played one day, and it changed the whole environment of the game. And so I know the girls feed off of that. They love seeing people that line up that third base line there. That's incredible. I think last year we played Auburn. We had over 1,600 fans, I heard. And I was blown away. I was just like, wow, this is incredible. So we love it. We hope that we put a great product on the field that people want to come and see, and just know that we appreciate it, we love it, and we feed off of it.
The final question here with Coach Eric Newell, the growth of the sport, with the coverage of the Women's College World Series and the Super Regionals or Regionals, I remember last year I sat down with Anna Shellnut and she talked about the experience of the Women's College World Series and all that. The growth of the sport has been so compelling nationwide in college softball. Like I said, you've been at it for a good while now. Can you speak to that?
Yeah, women's softball is in a great place right now, and just as you reflect on the last 20, 30 years of women's softball and how far this game has come, there'd probably be nobody that'd speak to it better than Sandy Adkins, who, was, I don't want to date her at all, but, played softball here at Troy 20, 30 years ago.
Troy Sports Hall of Famer, too.
That's right. But she would tell you firsthand just how far this sport has come, but you can see just for the viewership on ESPN and what what is being accomplished, and they tore down the stadium at Oklahoma City, had to rebuild, and they sell out every year. It's incredible, the numbers, the viewership. Our sport is in a really good place right now.
Well, Troy softball's in a really good place to ride the crest of the growth of women's college softball across the country, and we are certainly looking forward to it. First day of the season, February 9th at the Troy Softball Complex, and we are certainly looking forward to that. The schedule and all the information available at troytrojans.com. It's great fun. Look forward to it, Coach. Thanks very much.
Thank you so much. This is always exciting, and go Trojans.
There you go. From the Troy University campus, for softball head coach Eric Newell, I'm Barry McKnight.